Hey guys, Kieran here, back with another Ravenswatch video. Today we're going to be talking about the new balance patch that came to Ravenswatch Early Access. This particular update is a big one because it's going to make a lot of changes to the balancing of characters in the game. So let's have a look at the patch notes. We have a TLDR here. Essentially, we have voice chat, we have improvements to visual effects, faster teleportation animations, chapter balancing, then we have hero balancing, crit chance balancing, economy balancing in higher difficulties, quest balancing, and a lot of fixes. So let's have a look at the patch notes. But first off, we have voice chat in the game. This will matter to people who play multiplayer. I don't particularly play multiplayer, but it is nice to have that option that you don't have to use Discord to have voice chat in the game. You can just play through the game and give you voice chat. Next is health bars. Visualization for enemy health bars have been improved. Bar lengths are smaller or larger depending on the enemy's health pool. Small, regular, and elite. Mini bosses now display a boss health bar at the top of the screen, which is really nice. The boss health bar, so I'm assuming this is talking about the curse key event. The boss health bar now displays their status effects. Bleed damage has now a feedback on the health bar. The teleportation animation has been reduced from 6 to 4 seconds, which is a really good change because sometimes it just felt like the teleportation animation was a bit too long, especially if you accidentally teleported somewhere and then you need to change the teleport again. 12 seconds of animation time, whereas now it's only a 4-second animation. So this is the big change here. We have hero adjustments, and including the hero adjustments, we have changes to crit chance. So they felt that crit chance was a bit too powerful for certain characters. And so the big change here is that crit chance has been nerfed. To offset this, essentially the experience to get to levels 9 and above has been adjusted and increased. So you will be able to get to level 9 and 10 quicker, and the hero's max level is set to level 20. So first off, with Scarlet, for example, Shadow Strikes is one of her starting talents. So you used to be able to get up 25% crit chance. Now you get 0.5 crit chance up to 30, so essentially you're only getting 15% crit chance. Murderous Intent was a talent that basically made Scarlet gain back all of her combo points straight away. Now you only gain 2 combo points. So if you had the talent that gave her 5 combo points, essentially you could refill it and then do another combo. Now you only get the 2, which is a little bit annoying because then you have to attack to build up those combo points before you can do a power or a maxed out special. Energy now increases crit chance by 4 to 7% per combo point, as opposed to the 4 to 10% combo points. So this talent is not as good to upgrade. And then this one has been severely nerfed. Explosive Rush Special now deals only 40 to 70% damage, as opposed to 100 to 175% damage. So going for the special build on Explosive Rush is not as good as it used to be, and this will affect Scarlet's power. But I think Scarlet was quite a strong character, so we'll see how these changes make, especially on the harder difficulties. The good thing here though is Pied Piper. The rats can now deal crit damage, which is a huge buff to the rat. Spinning Solo, crit chance set to 40 to 70%, as opposed to 55 to 100%. Okay, then we have some changes to Beowulf. Beowulf's extra spin now keeps Beowulf intangible. This is quite nice actually. So I think the reason why Bladestorm wasn't a great skill in the beginning is because you do the extra spins, but you don't get the iframes for it. We've got nerf to Blazing Runes crit chance here as well. This isn't that big, 10% is not huge, so this is still a viable talent. We have a nerf to Snowstorm ultimate effect, now only lasts 10 seconds instead of 20 seconds. I feel like this is quite a big change, and the reason why is because you wanted to proc Snow Queen's trait. I think if it only lasts 10 seconds, you can only trigger it once or twice. As opposed to if it was 20 seconds, you could trigger it multiple times. Then we have Aladdin's attack damage increase from enchantment increased by 10%, 60% from 50%. This is a nice little buff. This is obviously only one skill, but enchantments for Aladdin was quite a big build, so the fact that it has been buffed is a nice change. And the big change here for Aladdin, I think the reason why they did this is because now it looks like your special wishes give less damage, give less crit chance, and less crit damage as well. It's quite a huge nerf to crit chances across the board. We have Melusine aftershock damage set to 40 to 70%, as opposed to 50 to 80%. This is not too big. We get less healing per wave from Springwater, which is the starting talent that heals you when you use your special. So a little bit of nerf to Melusine. We have Geppetto. Dummies now crit hit and crit chance as well. So that's really good. Laser eyes will only be used on targets within 12 meters distance. This is a decent change because I felt like sometimes the laser eyes would proc on targets that are outside of the zone. So having it within the 12 meters is nice. Also, they mentioned in the notes here that they felt like on certain characters you can stagger really easily, and so they've nerfed the overclock stagger per hit to 3 instead of 5. This is okay. I mean, Geppetto building a lot of dummies could stagger bosses really quickly using the overclock, so now they've nerfed that. So with Sun Wukong, clones from Ultimate 1 can use crit hit and crit damage. That's any heroes that use the use companions or use like little minions now can crit, which is going to be really nice when you build crit. The only problem is now that obviously they've nerfed crit a lot, so you can't build as much crit into your build. Here, this is a nerf as well. The power stagger is now proportional to the distance covered before each strike. So this is going to be a huge nerf to stagger. Also reduced stagger dealt by Stone Monkey Reflex to 1 instead of 10. So again, a huge nerf to stagger here. Then we have general balancing. So let's read the notes. The rebalancing of the game's difficulty mainly concerns the difficulty levels higher than adventure mode. We tried to adjust these based on an observation. Experienced players easily accumulate a lot of items, mainly thanks to the Sandman rework during the Avalon update. In addition to Stars of Fate rerolls have much more value for these players than anticipated because they allow them to seek out specific combinations of talents and magic items more easily. Therefore, chosen to make economic management progressively more difficult and to review the number of Stars of Fate that can be found in the game so that managing dream shards or rerolls offers a real dilemma to seasoned players. The Nightmare difficulty extreme in principle also has benefited from the specials adjustments to prevent the previous settings from making it too frustrating. Note that we will of course continue to receive feedback regarding the difficulty and that this update allows us to keep adjusting it until the release. So let's have a look. Economy, costs in Dream Shards is now higher. Okay, this is very punishing. So Nightmare now is 80% increased in economy. The difficulty reduction is from 30% instead of 40%. Okay, so it is easier to get experience on Nightmare mode. And also the Nightmare difficulty, they hit 5% less and have 5% less health. Okay, I mean, again, it looks like this is going to be quite hard on Nightmare mode. Enemies, design notes, players' ability to inflict stagger on enemies can increase significantly from one chapter to the next, but enemies were not scaling correctly to this. Elite enemies and bosses now have a shake value adjustment to ensure their relevancy in chapters 1 and chapters 2 to 3. So from what I'm hearing from this, basically you're not going to be as strong because you're not going to be able to buy stuff in Nightmare mode as quickly. This is very punishing for players, and I don't think the increased XP gain and the reduction in health and damage that you take is enough to offset how punishing this is. Next is reduced chapter 3 damage scaling according to difficulty. Again, with Nightmare, there's not going to be any changes. And this is going to be really tough because early on, you're not going to be able to buy stuff. So you're not going to be able to be strong enough to get to chapter 3 in the first place. So I think this is not a great change. It does look like they've kind of nerfed the health of the boss in chapter 2. And they've kind of nerfed the health of the boss in chapter 3 as well. Okay, so the chapter 3 boss is slightly weaker in terms of health, but sounds like their skills are more focused on being reactive to the moveset. Boss witches now have more health and deal more damage. They're bigger as well. This is terrible because the boss witches were very strong. So it sounds like chapter 3 is actually harder now. Very nice. Then we have Pig's Quest. You have less health on the quest, but you have less elites as well. I don't know how good this is going to be. Sometimes the Pig's Quest I felt like a little bit too hard on Nightmare. Particularly because, yeah, you're spawning a lot of enemies, but the fact that you have less health on your building, you're going to have to manage your time really well on this event. We're going to have to find out how the changes affect the game now. So you have Chapter 2 side quest. Essentially, you're going to have to kill the Cyclops within a set period of time, otherwise the Cyclops is going to get stronger. Okay, then we have the chapter 3 side quest. The side quest, you have less health, and this guy spawns more stuff. So essentially the side quest is harder. So what I'm hearing from here is the side quest is slightly harder. I don't know about the elites. I always found the straw and wood houses were much harder than the stone house. So I'm not sure why they nerfed the stone house the most, because I feel like the straw and wood houses were actually harder than the stone house. And the reason why straw house was the hardest is because the enemy actually attacked from all sides, whereas the wood house and the stone house have a wall, so enemies can't attack in that zone. But we'll see how it goes. I think maybe to offset this, they've made some changes to the items. So Unicorn Horn is stronger when under a regeneration effect, up to 50 damage instead of 20. You also have Dragon Hide being stronger, so 40% of your armor value instead of 20%. Again, you'd have to build like 4 of these items to get to this point, so it is quite hard to stick with Dragon Hide in the first place. Tama Tobacco gives 2 Stars of Fate instead of 3. So this actually makes this more valuable now because of the Stars of Fate changes. Tama Tobacco is actually probably one of the better legendaries in the game. The purple items giving more cooldown reduction, which is nice. We have a change to Oni Mask. A bit of a nerf here actually, 15 damage per cursed object and minus 15 vitality per legendary object. So this is a big nerf to Oni Mask. We have a nerf to Golden Chainmail, which is now giving you immunity for 50% instead of 30% for 1 second. And a big nerf to Holy Grail because it only gives you a fixed amount. Actually, I'm not sure if this is a nerf. I think 10 per level multiplied by your multiplier. I'm not sure how much health this will give you, so we'll have to find out how much health this is actually healing you for. And then Queen of Hearts now deactivated during cinematics. This one makes sense. Starless Fragments now give 1 Star of Fate instead of 2. Okay, this is I don't know how good that is now. Basically, you're buying 50 Dream Shards for 1 Star of Fate, 1 reroll. Then here, this is the big one here. So essentially, you have less crit chance, you get less Star of Fate, and you get less Dream Shards. Okay, but it is now more attractive to get the Altar of Heroes, because now you get 750 from 500. So the Altar of Heroes is slightly buffed. Okay, and then we've got some bug fixes here as well. There's no changes to the roadmap. It looks like in the launch there's going to be a new boss and a new hero and some more changes. So overall, I feel like this is a nerf, especially because I'm playing on Darkness and Nightmare difficulty. I feel like it is going to be much harder on Nightmare and Darkness difficulty. We'll have to do a run to see and find out how difficult these changes make it. I'm not sure because they haven't specified how much experience this is. So you are able to gain levels faster, but Nightmare mode gives you less experience as well. So I'm not sure how this will work. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below on these changes. I will be putting up more videos related to Ravenswatch. So I do have one planned regarding the damage mechanics and the defense mechanics in Ravenswatch as well. So stay in tune for that. As always, have an awesome day. Bye for now.